The soft rustling of the wind whispered through the evening air as Vine sat quietly on her balcony, her hair neatly tied and covered with a scarf. The cool breeze brushed against her cheeks, carrying with it a familiar melody. Her gaze, unblinking and serene, was fixed on the boy next door, John Jungkook, her mysterious and musically gifted neighbor. He was sitting across from her on his own balcony, strumming his guitar with effortless grace. His voice floating gently through the air as he sang a few lines from the song Seven. There was a tenderness in his tone, a soulful richness that wrapped around every note like silk. It was the kind of voice that made you pause, close your eyes, and simply listen. Wine smiled softly, her chin resting on her hand as she whispered to herself. His voice sounds deeper than the ocean. I could listen to him for hours. She didn't realize how long she had been staring, completely entranced, until suddenly a splat on her hand broke the moment. Her eyes widened in horror as she looked down. I'll take revenge on you, you clever little pigeon. Jungkook chuckled quietly from across the balcony, having seen the whole thing. Embarrassed beyond words, wine darted inside her room, her cheeks burning. She scrubbed her hand repeatedly as if 10 washes could erase the awkwardness she felt. Once she was finally satisfied, she stepped back out onto the balcony, hoping to catch even a glimpse of him again. But Jungkook was no longer there. The chair sat empty, though the window behind it was still slightly open. She let out a quiet sigh, almost shouting. Because of that pigeon, I couldn't even hear him properly. She turned away and collapsed onto her bed, legs swaying lazily in the air as her thoughts circled back to Jungkook. Her face lit up with a smile, wide and dreamy, like someone who had just remembered from a perfect daydream. Just then her phone rang. The screen lit up with the name Amara, her best friend. Hey, you neighbor lover, come outside. I'm waiting for you. Why? Don't tell me you forgot. We have to go to the restaurant to apply for those staff positions. Oh no, you're right. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. Just give me 2 minutes. With the phone still pressed to her ear, Wine jumped on one foot while slipping into her socks, almost losing balance in her rush. She threw on her shoes with a slight struggle, grabbed her bag, and hurried out the door. The restaurant was quiet that afternoon, with only the distant clinking of dishes and the soft murmur of background music playing as Vine and Amara sat across from the manager at a polished wooden desk. The short interview had gone smoothly. Both girls spoke with confidence, and their warm personalities instantly won the manager over. With a final smile, he placed their appointment letters on the desk. You both can start from tomorrow. Amara, your shift will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wine, you will take the second shift from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Amara and Wine exchanged excited looks, the thrill of a new beginning lighting up their faces. I can't believe it. First shift for me, and I get the evening shift perfect. As they stepped outside, the sun was dipping low, painting the street with a warm golden glow. Amara's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the screen and sighed. It's my mom, I have to go, she answered quickly. Yes, Amara, okay, I'm coming right now. She turned back to Wine with an apologetic smile. I need to help at home. You heading straight back? Not yet. I need to pick up a few things from the grocery store. I will walk. All right, neighbor lover, don't get lost daydreaming about your guitar boy. Wine laughed softly, no promises. They hugged briefly before Amara left. As Wine walked along the sidewalk, the cool breeze fluttered the edges of her scarf. Her mind wandered, as it often did, to the boy next door, John Jungkook. He's not just my neighbor, he's the one who's quietly captured my thoughts. Dark, handsome, with that irresistible charm. His messy dark hair falls perfectly over those deep eyes. His jawline is sharp, yet his smile is so warm. And that lip piercing, how does something so small look so good on him? Wine whispered softly to herself. Every time he speaks, I can't help but stare at his piercing. She shook her head, smiling at how completely she had fallen for him. At the grocery store, Wine picked up a few packs of ramen and, on a whim, grabbed a tub of chocolate chip ice cream. Paying quickly, she stepped out into the evening, ready to head home. Her house was only about a 15-minute walk away, just enough time to let her thoughts wander freely. As she walked, her eyes catch sight of a new shop that had not been there before, Jungkook's guitar shop. Bathed in the warm glow of the shop lights, the wooden sign above swinging gently in the breeze. Wine stood quietly outside Jungkook's guitar shop, the soft glow from inside spilling in onto the street. Through the window, she saw Jungkook showing a guitar to a girl she had not seen before. The girl, Naira, smiled warmly and spoke in a relaxed, friendly tone. You really have an amazing talent. I would love to learn from you sometime. Maybe you could tutor me personally. Jungkook laughed softly as he strummed the guitar. I would be happy to. You have good taste in music. Naira's eyes twinkled as she leaned a little closer, still speaking casually. Honestly, with all the things I admire about you, well, you're my boyfriend. While her froze at those last words, even though the tone wasn't serious. She didn't hear the smile or the lightness behind Naira's voice, only those four words. The bell above the door jingled sharply as Wine stepped inside quietly. Shunko glanced toward the entrance and smiled warmly. Wine, you're here. Naira turned and catch Wine's gaze, a playful smirk on her face. See, I told you. Jungkook's smile faded for a moment and he looked apologetic. Naira, you're just joking around. You know that, right? Wine didn't wait to hear more. Her chest tightened painfully as confusion and sadness flooded her mind. Without a word, she hurried out of the shop, her footsteps quick and uneven. Later, in her room, Wine sat on her bed, tears quietly streaming down her face. Wine whispered to herself, voice trembling, was he really so foolish to think he could be mine when maybe he's already someone else? Her fingers clenched the blanket, the ache in her heart deep and raw. It had been an entire week since Wine started ignoring Jungkook. Every evening at the usual hour, Jungkook would sit on his balcony, guitar in hand, ready to play and sing. But the moment always felt emptier without Wine watching from hers. Today was no different. Jungkook sighed deeply, glancing toward Wine's balcony where she usually stood. Her eyes bright and smile gentle, but today the balcony was empty. She's not here again. After waiting a few moments, he slowly put his guitar down and went inside, a heaviness settling in his chest. The weekend had always been special. Wine's way of showing her affection was through the little things, like the warm cookies she baked just for him. The smell of fresh cookies was a quiet promise of their unspoken bond. But today there was no cookies, no soft knock at his door, no shy smile with a plate in hand. The only sound filling his house was the steady tick tick of the old clock on the wall. Maybe she will come, maybe she just forgot. Hours passed, and the quiet desperation grew. By Sunday afternoon, Chungkook's patience ran thin. Closing his shop early, he decided he couldn't wait any longer. He needed to see Wine. His footsteps echoed softly as he walked up the path to her house. His heart pounded as he rang the doorbell. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Wine's eyes widened in surprise, catch off guard. What are you doing here? Chungkook scratched the back of his neck awkwardly, avoiding her gaze for a moment. Can I come in first? Wine hesitated, her eyes searching his face. After a brief pause, she stepped aside, letting him in. Chungkook stepped into the quiet living room, the atmosphere slightly tense and unfamiliar. He sat down on the couch, his eyes silently observing everything, especially her. Wine returned from the kitchen a minute later, holding a glass of chilled juice. She gently placed it on the table in front of him without a word. Oh, thank you. But her silence didn't go unnoticed. Her swollen eyes, the absence of her usual warmth. He could feel something was wrong. Why are you ignoring me? Wine crossed her arms and leaned against the wall, her expression unreadable. When did I? Does it even matter to you? Chunguk looked up at her, his voice softening with sincerity. Of course, it matters. You matter to me a lot. Wine let out a dry, bitter laugh and shook her head. Oh, really? Then, for your kind information, you already have a girlfriend. Jungkook blinked in confusion, almost choking on the juice mid-sip. What? Who? Wine narrowed her eyes, the hurt clear on her face. Don't act so innocent now. I heard it myself. Jungkook sat up straighter, piecing it together. Wait, are you talking about Naira? Wine scoffed and looked away. I don't know who Naira is anymore. All I know is you are committed, and I can't keep falling for someone who belongs to someone else. Jungkook's eyes widened in disbelief. Wait, you do love me? Wine's voice trembled as she looked down, trying to hold back her emotions. I said I loved you, but I can't now. You have a girlfriend. To her surprise, Jungkook suddenly began laughing, softly at first, then harder, as if the truth had finally hit him in the most unexpected way. Wine glared at him, her eyes glistening as a tear silently slipped down her cheek. Is this funny to you? Chunko quickly composed himself and stood up, walking over to her. No, no, I'm sorry, it's just you misunderstood everything. She looked up at him, confused and guarded. What do you mean? That day, Naira was joking. She said something like, You are perfect, you could be my boyfriend, but it wasn't serious. She was just teasing. I even told her no. Wine's breath hitched slightly. Is that so? Jungkook nodded gently. Yes, and you avoided me this whole week because of that. Her cheeks instantly turned a soft shade of red from embarrassment, and she looked away. I thought I thought you were taken. I didn't want to ruin anything. So I started distancing myself. Jungkook smiled warmly, stepping closer. You should have told me how you felt. I could have returned those feelings with even more love. Her eyes widened, heart fluttering. But Naira, Jungkook laughed again, this time affectionately. She is just my cousin, nothing more than that. He leaned in slightly, his tone becoming softer. I didn't fall for her. I fell for you. For your half baked cookies that were salty last time, but you made them for me, so I ate them anyway. Wine gasped. What? But I added sugar. Oh no, I didn't taste them before giving them to you. Even my best friend told me not to send any more after she tried one. I'm so sorry, I will double the sugar next time. They both burst into laughter. As long as they're made by your hands, I will eat anything. In fact, I want to eat your handmade food for the rest of my life. Wine blinked in surprise, her heart racing. Why not? He gently embraced her, resting his chin lightly on her head. A peaceful silence filled the room. She glanced up at him, eyes drifting to the small piercing on his lower lip. Actually, I have always liked your piercing. Every time we talk, I find myself staring at it. Jungkook smiled, looking into her eyes with a soft expression that made her heart skip. Then keep staring because I only want you to look at me forever.